Welcome back, Egos family. This is Season 2, Episode 5. We are your hosts, Jacob Grijalva.
And Mario Rodriguez. And today, we have a special guest, Miss Angel.
Hey, y'all.
Everybody give a warm welcome.
You've been wanting to be on this podcast for some time now.
I have shed blood, sweat, and tears to get on this podcast.
No, but when I told her about the podcast, she was like, how do I get on? And I was like, you can't get on. You're not 18 yet.
No,
Yeah.
I was like 17 and a half. He's like, no, sorry. Like,
Well, that
reasons.
and I didn't know this until like a few days ago, but she lives mad far from me, so it's like...
Not mad far.
Mad far,
It's
babe. I
New
drive
York,
to
though.
Brooklyn like every week.
Yeah,
This is not far.
Yeah, okay, well, I feel like it's far.
I think the GPS told me like 14 minutes when I looked up to give her the address.
No, it was like 25. But it's fine. Like,
Oh.
don't worry. Don't
What
worry.
did you take? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, don't ask me about the roads because I don't know. I don't know the names of any roads.
How is it living in Brooklyn, though?
Way better than living on Long Island. I tell everybody
really?
that. Like, you need to try it.
Oh,
Everybody needs to move out to
the
the
boroughs
city.
scare me. I'm just such a pussy.
What are you scared of? What are you scared of?
I don't know. I mean, I lived in Queens for like a handful of months, and like Queens was okay, but I feel like every borough has like those parts where you just cannot go.
Well, duh. That's with, like, everywhere.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Something about the city scares me. Like, the people are bred differently in the city.
Oh, for sure. They're
Like,
way meaner. I always say, like, in the city, nobody cares, right? Like, mind your own business, but also everybody cares about what you're doing. You get so many stares no matter where you're going. Like,
Yeah.
You're kind of built for the city, though. Like, you're not
Oh, I'm
like
so built
you're
for
not
it.
an introverted person.
No, I hate suburbia. I first of all need sound to fall asleep, so I
Same.
cannot
Same.
fall
I'm
asleep
the
on my
same way.
block.
I put on what's it called on YouTube rain
No,
noises.
none of that shit. No.
It starts getting bad when my thoughts are too loud.
No, yeah, I'm like just laying there. I'm just like
That's the one.
you're just like you're not gonna live past 30. Just
No,
just give up
literally.
now. Just give up now. Like there's no point, dude.
Like,
You're
as soon as
thinking that. You're thinking that.
yeah, I do not think that I will make it past 30. And I
like, truly.
yeah, well, and
What's gonna take Mario out?
Wait. Maybe like not that I won't make it. It's just that I can't see my life past 30. Like I can't imagine a life past the age of 30.
You don't have a very bold imagination, then, do you?
No, but then like I get
What do you-
crazy
I mean-
like theories of how I'm gonna die. So clearly,
So what's your leading theory of death? What's like the one you think about most
theory?
often?
Oh, good question.
Car crash, probably, because Long Island has a bad history of car crashes. So I
You're
think
too
that
good to die in a car crash.
no, no, I know I won't be the cause of it. I feel like somebody is gonna hit me.
I don't know. What do you think?
About me?
Yeah.
Oh, literally
Some type
anything.
of health-related issue.
Yeah, he has like health problems.
Like
Oh.
all the time.
Do you actually have health problems, or are you like?
No, like I actually
hypochondriac?
no, I actually do. Like literally every like 4 or 5 months I get diagnosed with some like treatable but uncurable disease.
Oh, great.
You know, best way to live.
You're
You know?
just collecting them like Pokemon
Yeah,
cards.
yeah.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah, I'm like writing a checklist for every single one, and it's like, all right, when will I get to that one? And it's just, I think to myself, but that's the thing, like it's gotta be like cancer, right? Because I think about it, and it's like,
Wait, what?
no, because I think about it, and it's like I'm going through a checklist of all the diseases I've gotten and have yet to get, and I'm checking all like, when's cancer just gonna come? Like I'm just waiting for it.
Well, fun fact.
Yeah.
Everybody can get cancer. Like,
yeah, of
everybody
course.
will get cancer in their life. It just depends on how long you live. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that is, like, eventually the little, like, thing that covers your little gene that says, oh, I'm going to make cancer cells now, once that degrades, then you get cancer.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody has the opportunity for cancer, but it just
Yeah.
depends on how long you live, how quickly that thing degrades.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just waiting.
Yeah,
I'm just
which makes sense though, because
I'm
when
just
you're older.
waiting too.
Yeah.
I
it
feel
makes
that.
older, when you're older, it makes sense though, because like the majority of older people do get some sort of cancer because their body isn't able to fight it off.
Can we talk about that? Why cancer? Why is cancer the thing that everybody gets?
Oh, that's true.
Why can't it be like diabetes?
That-
Well, my whole
what?
family has diabetes too. I don't
Does
know.
it really?
Yeah.
Do you have diabetes?
No.
Are you
So
pre-diabetic?
Isn't diabetes one of the
No.
most like common diseases in the U.S. though?
I thought that was
Is
hard.
it-
I have no
Isn't it
idea.
like heart
America!
heart disease is the leading cause of death for like older people? Yeah, most old people die from some sort of heart related thing,
Yeah.
Damn.
if not age. But
Honestly,
Hashtag-
I always think that no, that's another thing that I think I might die from, like a heart attack or something, because my
well,
anxiety.
I already crossed heart problems off my list.
That's
I'm
true.
dead.
You have heart problems. Your heart sometimes skips a beat.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, it literally skips a beat. It
Like
stops.
you can feel it. Like how do you
Yes,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, I
it.
feel it.
He
Yeah.
feels.
How do you feel it?
So, okay, so like the best way I can describe it, I'm trying to think how to describe it well. So just imagine, right? Like you don't really pay attention to your heart ever, right?
Right. It just do.
The only way I can describe it is you just feel it for 1 second. Like you just feel that it's there. And because normally it's just always beating, so it's subconscious.
Right.
But then you feel something, and then I guess to compensate for the missed beat, what my heart will do will beat 2 times really fast but really hard, right?
Okay.
Like just like boom, boom, right?
Right.
And but it's really hard, so I feel that. And normally when I feel that, that's when I know that like it happened.
So you
But-
don't feel it actually skipping. You feel
No,
the
I mean I do feel it
aftermath.
skipping.
Okay.
I do feel it skipping. I just couldn't describe that. You know, it's like
No, I could just imagine like
just imagine like a little cramp in your heart. Like it doesn't hurt, but just
Yeah.
imagine a little like a
Does
little
it scare
squeeze.
you?
It used to, not anymore. Now it's just something that happens to me.
Because they just woke up, my heart
I
skipped
just
a
can
beat.
imagine like you be like making cereal, you got milk, and you're like, ah. That's how I think.
Well, the thing is,
I don't
like,
think it's making him convulse.
No, I
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but for
yeah.
some reason in my mind, I feel like it's what
You're just like heart attack. Heart
the
attack.
way to tell if it's happening to me from an outside perspective, if I'm sitting there like this with my hand on my chest, then I'm feeling for it.
Well, then I think that you're just having a heart attack. That's gonna scare me.
Oh no, no! I'll either be sitting there like this, or I'll be sitting there like this, feeling my
Checking your
pulse, because I can feel it in my pulse too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can feel my blood flow through in that rhythm. So
And then like not flow through, and then like beep beep.
yeah,
Oh.
so when you're feeling your pulse, you're
Yeah.
feeling your blood push through your veins,
Right.
and your heart beats.
You're feeling your
So
heartbeat.
since my heart skips and then beats twice really fast, instead of it feeling like a normal heartbeat, I'll feel the resulting.
That's
resulting
kinda
beats
crazy.
through
This
my
happened
veins.
last year, right?
Yeah, it started last year.
Yeah, dang. One year strong.
You're strong. You're
I mean,
strong.
I've been able to identify the things that cause it and kind of mitigate it a little bit.
I was gonna say, what is it like a condition, or is it like it does have to do with your diet, or
I mean, so the technical thing is it's called a preventricular contraction. It's not necessarily a disease, it's more like a symptom, but 99% of times people don't really know what's causing it. Like it can be disease related, but 99% of times it's not. Like it kind of just happens.
Okay.
For me, I found out that it happens very often if I stay up really late, like 3 a.m,
Okay.
and then it'll just start happening, or if I don't get a lot of sleep the night before. So, but then
So
it'll
sleep
bother me.
Oh
the
related.
next
yeah,
day.
so yeah, I was gonna say.
So
it sounds
it's like
a
mostly
sleep-related.
sleep
Gotcha.
related for me.
okay.
Gotcha. Have you fixed it? Like fixed your sleep routine?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I get like I
But
used to
you're
stay
the-
up.
Yeah, we discussed this last time where you're the type of person that doesn't sleep. You don't need like.
I don't need a ton
lot
of
of-
sleep, but I used
Yeah.
to stay up and sleep for like 3 hours. So
No, I love
that
me
like
sleeping.
like when I do that, sometimes like if we have a party or something, I'll still do that. So in that event, it'll bother me like really bad
Yeah.
the next day.
Oh, gotcha.
But
And it'll just like keep happening, like
yeah, all throughout the day, and then until I sleep again, and then wake up again.
So
it'll keep
yeah,
going.
so you're like rested.
Yeah.
Probably.
so you're like one of those people that like, because this is me. You could sleep for like 3 hours and then go the whole day.
Yeah.
Like you slept 8.
yeah.
That's what I used to do.
I actually am more tired throughout my day if I get more than 6 hours of sleep.
I completely
Like if I get a
agree.
whole
That's
8
for
hours
sure.
of sleep a night in one night, I am just exhausted the whole day.
I agree. You wake up tired. Like
I
it's
don't-
too
yeah.
much sleep.
Yeah, I wake up tired, but then I realize throughout like the day, like I'm more energized when it comes to like the nighttime, and like I'm actually able to like stay awake instead of being
Yeah.
like, like
You're a
I'm-
night owl.
No, especially when I do like doubles. You know how that
The
is.
doubles,
No,
they
yeah,
kill.
back to back doubles though, like where you like close and then you have to come back like at 10 in the
I
morning.
used to do that every weekend, Mario.
Yeah.
Close Friday, close Saturday, open Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so terrible.
Yeah, well, you were in the weekends you were here, but Brooklyn, that's where you mainly lived in the past year, right?
Yes. But I was still doing that even when I did live here for a little bit.
Gotcha. Well, that was because your dad lives over there?
Yes.
or-
Why I
or-
moved to Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was I mean like a couple big reasons. One of them, like the biggest one, was because my dad, because I never really had a relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to like move in with him and just be around him more, like actually know who he is and how he acts and stuff like that. And I also went because Long Island's not for me, suburbia is not for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get like as close as I could to the city.
Wait, so he always lived over there? Or
So
when did he move over there?
We used to live together as the Big Happy Family in never mind. On Long Island in Nassau County.
Mm-hmm.
And when my parents got divorced and stuff, we kind of moved everywhere. So like my dad was still in Nassau, and then my mom and everyone else was in Suffolk.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just, there was no reason for him to keep living there because my brother had graduated, whatever, he lived with him. So he just moved back in with my grandma in Brooklyn.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how old were you when that happened?
Which part?
When he, I guess, moved to Brooklyn.
When he moved back to Brooklyn, that
Yeah.
was like, let's see, I moved back there like a year and a half ago, so probably like 2 years, 2.5 years.
Wait, are you the youngest of your family?
I'm a 3 out of 4.
Oh, so you're a middle child, technically.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm the middle child.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to agree with me, but I am the middle child.
No,
yes.
you're
You
more.
said you're out of 4.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're one of the 2 middle children.
No, but she's more
But
of the middle
like-
child because when the first one moves out, she's still the middle child.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
I see.
And he also, like how I said, my brother was living with my dad, and then when he graduated, he moved. So for most of the time, it was just my big sister, me, and my little brother. So I was.
So you have 2
kid.
brothers and 1 sister.
Yes, 2 brothers, 1 sister.
All right.
The younger
So-
one is the sister?
No, I have an older brother, older sister,
Oh, I
younger
see.
brother
I see.
also.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang. It's
So
like a
know.
sandwich.
did you experience that thing that normally happens where like I don't know why
That
this always
thing?
happens.
You're
and
gone.
I don't know why this always happens, and it happened in my family, but like me and because I have an older brother and a younger sister, so me and my brother were born right, and my sister was born after that, and she was treated in a completely different way. Like not like in the sense where like not in the sense where she got things that we didn't, but in the sense where like she never got really like yelled at for anything. Her punishments were never severe.
Right.
Did you experience that as a
it's kind of hard to say because my family doesn't always like follow that like stereotypical dynamic. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like my older brother.
I mean, I certainly wish mine didn't.
Yeah, right. My older brother was like the favorite because it's like mom's first boy. You know, whatever.
Yep, same here.
I would probably feel the same way. Can't hate her. And then I feel like my sister kind of got the brunt of it because she's like, what's the word? Just like. She's not as outgoing as everybody else. My family as a whole is very like outgoing, so she kind of got like bullied the most out of like from my parents, from the siblings and everything, because she was always just didn't want to do anything or like didn't want to go outside, didn't want to talk to us,
Gotcha.
whatever.
She's more
So
introverted.
She's more introverted.
You didn't experience the typical middle child syndrome then.
I guess not, but in the same regard, like I'm way different than my other siblings.
Yeah.
So like I was treated very differently because I just am very different.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
gotcha.
I was like taking my own independence from my mother when I was like 14. She's like, come back and eat dinner, and I'm like, but
I'm hanging out with my friends.
Literally, like I'm
Yeah.
like, but my boyfriend is
Yeah.
like, but like we're doing something, we're having a party. Like it wasn't exactly like that, but
Gotcha.
something like that. So I was always kind of like more grown up and like just different than my other siblings.
Yeah, I was kind of the same. I like when I was 14 and 15, I always wanted to do my own thing. I never wanted to
Do you
be
think that was
Yeah.
because of your older siblings? Because they were so much older? And
That I
you-
wanted to be independent.
Yeah.
No, I think when my parents separated, it gave like that's when I like gained consciousness. 'Cause that was
your earliest memory.
No, I'm so dead ass. My earliest memory is gonna be so sad, but I promise it's not sad. Like I got over it.
Yeah. Like it's trauma, but I dealt with it.
Yeah, no, I dealt with it. Like don't worry. My like earliest memory is my house used to have a when they were together, a like a nook, you know what I mean, like a window nook, where it was, I forget what they're called, but like where there was just a little bench and all the windows, right?
Oh, okay.
A reading nook.
Yeah, yeah. okay.
And I remember coming home from school one day, and my mom and dad were crying, like holding each other, and I was like, "Oh God, what's
Wait, how
going
old were
on
you?
here?"
Wait, what?
Probably like 8. I was in
Oh,
elementary
dang.
school.
Oh, okay.
And I come home, they're like, tell everybody to sit down. We're all bugging, me and my siblings, because we're like, what is going
Yeah.
on? And they're like, so we're actually not gonna be together anymore. So your parents are splitting up, and it's gonna be okay, and yada yada, and this, that, and the other thing. And that was how I figured out that my parents were getting divorced.
So did you were you sad? Were you I'm assuming you were sad because you were 8.
I was, I didn't know.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
didn't, I grasped it, but I wasn't so upset. I was more upset that my siblings were very upset. Because I feel like I'm a helper. I want to help everybody, and I want to make sure that everybody's okay before myself. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't so concerned with oh my God, they're not going to be together. They would fight a lot, and not in front of us, It really wasn't like that. I just know because everybody tells you things over the years or whatever. I don't remember a lot of it.
Do they have a good dynamic though as co-parents?
No. They don't co-parent. Maybe they do in their definition. I hope I'm not putting my parents on blast right now.
That's okay. I'll do it after you.
But they didn't like each other for a really long time, and it was really hard for them to work together, I think. And both of them come to birthday party dinners and events and stuff like that. And over time, they definitely got better at it. But there's nothing to co-parent anymore. We're all older. It's more just money. It was the child support was
can you
some
just please
yeah.
help me out. Yeah.
But also, I don't see a lot of it was behind the scenes. Of them having conversations about
what they're gonna do, how they're gonna handle
exactly things that I probably don't even know about.
Oh, that's true.
But
that is very true. Yeah.
No, my dad is he's such an antagonist that it's hard to co-parent with. I love him, I live with him, but it is hard sometimes because he just keeps putting nails in the coffin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's a lot of similarities with their stories, but a few really big differences. So my parents aren't legally divorced, but they're certainly not together.
So you're basically in the same boat.
Yeah. They're certainly not together. I found out probably, I want to say I was around the 11, 12 age, but I didn't find out from them. My brother told me about it.
Oh, that stinks though.
Yeah, I guess.
So you found out from your brother that your parents weren't fully together.
Yeah, or that they weren't gonna be.
Oh, they weren't gonna be.
Because, so, my sister's younger. They waited there's a 6-year gap between her and I. Mm-hmm. And it kind of sucks because that means she was super young for all this because they had all that time to think about things, and then she came along, so they were doing good for a bit because she was together, she was a baby, so they had to be parents, and, everything was good. But then obviously when she started getting older, they had their differences. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I don't want to blast either of them.
Exactly. But I'm is my mom listening right now?
Yeah. But yeah, our situations are similar because I was also very young. I mean, you were much younger, but I still was at the age where I didn't really know what anything meant, and I didn't know how things worked or any of the terminology behind it. And
that's crazy that your brother told you though.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that's wild.
I guess in the effort to preserve, because let me preface this. My dad always tells me that something happened to me where when I was younger, I was a super joyous and outgoing and excited about the world kind of child, and then he always says something just happened to you where that just disappeared, and now you're very
shit.
relaxed.
Thanks, Dad.
No,
it
yeah.
hurts my feelings a little bit when he says
when
that, but I know he's not saying it in a malicious way. It's just that he has those good memories of me as a child, and he just wants to kind of relive them a little bit. So I don't really take it as a mean thing.
Yeah.
But I know when that turn happened, because I guess in an effort to preserve that side of me, they didn't want to tell me. They wanted to just hide it from me, and then
which in turn does the same thing.
Yeah, and then make it so that I just watch it happen.
Yeah.
But they told my brother because he was 3 years older, so he was probably 15, 16, or maybe when all this started going down. So they told him, and I guess in turn he told me. I was pretty upset about it. I didn't I never really expressed that to them because I didn't want to add food to their
they're already going through their whole thing.
But I just express it to my friends a lot. But then the same thing happened to you, where like I just became like super independent right off the bat, and I didn't want to hang out with my family anymore. Like I just wanted to go out and do my own thing, not have any adults there, just like, you know, do whatever. And so I was like that from like 7th grade, you know?
Yeah. I think a part of that, if our stories are similar, is like my parents never told me the truth about what was going on. It was like somebody cheated, nobody cheated, they both cheated. Like it was always like a mixed up story. It depends on who you ask, you know, it will determine what answers that you get to certain questions.
Yeah.
But I thought that it was just so much more like hurtful to my like psyche to lie like that and to not just like sit me. I don't care if I'm 8 years old. I was different when I was 8 years old. I wasn't like mentally, I wasn't 8.
Yeah.
You know, I was definitely older than that. And so I was going through like older people thoughts, right? And being like, why is my family lying to me when they think that I'm upset that they're not together anymore?
Yeah.
And like over time, I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody about anything. I don't want to talk to a therapist about this. I don't even want to go through this trauma because I don't even know what happened. And uncertainty is like such a ick to me. Like I hate
That's
being
the thing.
uncertain.
That exactly. They did the same exact thing to me. They never told me exactly what was going on or why anything was happening. I didn't know why they even did that until maybe like 2 years ago.
Like why they split.
Yeah. Or like why they were even arguing or why like I never even knew why.
Yeah.
And even to this day, there are things that happen all the time between them. And since they still live together in my house, you know, and all the kids are there. Yeah. They're both here.
Okay.
You know, I feel like, especially since all of us know that they're not, you know, they have issues, they should be super transparent about things that happen, because then they're going to sit here and they're going to fight and we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
you know, like just tell us what's going on, because that way at least I can just process it. And
it also helps you, like, in your adult years, so that you're not like...
And even to this day, like you were saying, like, I may be, you know, 19 years old now, but I probably think more around like a 20 to 25 year old person. You know, I'm able to process those things quicker, I guess.
Yeah.
And for like for them to think, and I know that they know this, but for them to still even then not tell me the truth about things, because even to this day there are things that happen all the time with one of them, and these could have been things that happened years ago that I'm just figuring out about now.
Right.
You know, so that's like that's the really annoying part. And I think when people hear like, oh, my parents are separated, people are like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Like, I feel so bad for you.
Bro, that
but
was
honestly,
15
that's
years ago.
but also that's also honestly the easiest part. Like, them not being together is the easiest part to process.
Cakewalk.
Yeah. But then all the details that you're never told.
Right.
Because they lied to you about it. Yeah.
Having to figure out where you're going to live, who you're going to be with on this certain day, who you're spending your holidays with.
Bitch,
and just all the things that like your parents just don't want to tell you. Like anything that happens, that's the hard part to digest. Because the worst thing, like you said, like I also hate being lied to.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is sitting there being like, why am I just figuring this shit out?
Right.
Like why did I not know this 4 years ago when this was happening?
Because at a certain point you're like, oh, I understand how you're trying to protect me, but also like, I understand life now.
Yeah.
Like, when I look back at the situation, I understand you guys didn't work together. There was something that happened in your relationship, whatever, you couldn't work it out, whatever. You just couldn't be good parents with each other. And that's fine. Just talk to me about it. Because now, what if I go have a relationship, right, and the same thing happens to me, but I'm like, no, I need to stay for my kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, that insight would have been so much more like, helpful.
And that happens all the time. People who come from families where their parents didn't work out, those kids who don't hear all those details end up getting into similar toxic or abusive relationships, and they end up thinking that it's okay because it was never expressed to them that wasn't
my
the case.
first relationship.
And they will sit there their whole lives and watch their parents bitch and argue and complain and fight and all these things, and they won't get told like anything about it. They'll just watch it and they'll be like, oh, that's how it must be, right?
You're supposed to just like yell and scream in front of the kids.
Yeah, that's what relationships are, right? They're supposed to just be, you know, they say it's work, but it's, you know, it's obviously never supposed to be like that, but kids end up growing up thinking that that's normal.
Right. Well, you live up to the expectation that's set for you in your household, right? So everything that your parents teach you, how to act, what to think, how to make your bed, all of that shit comes into play later on in life, because that's all you know.
Sometimes, like, when they tell you things, it's going to be completely different from, like, you're not going to take the things that they say. Usually it's like the things that they do when you're a kid, you know what I mean? You're gonna take more of that energy
you're gonna remember that.
Yeah, you're gonna remember more of the actions, because you're like, okay, they did this, I'm gonna do it. And even though they're telling me it's wrong, they're still doing it, you know what I mean? So when you're a kid, you're gonna look for their actions more than their words.
Yeah, this is the thing, that's like super important, and I'm gonna go into a little bit of detail about this, and if they watch it, they watch it. I don't really care.
It's the tea sesh.
I'm not gonna say anything bad about them. This is just the reality of like how things were.
Right.
They responded to their own issues very differently, and like as a child, like it would rub off on me, like their reactions to things. Like, for example, if something happens between them, my mom gets very upset and hostile, right? Like, she not hostile like she's gonna fucking hurt somebody, but hostile like she's just very verbally aggressive.
Right,
like
just
she gets angry, she's yelling.
Attitude.
She like attitude goes way up. My dad's kind of the opposite. He will push it off to the side, and like if he's talking to his children, he will just talk to them like nothing happened. Right. Like he doesn't like he doesn't want them to be involved.
Just because he's a Hispanic
But my mom,
man.
my mom.
My dad's the same way, man.
Exactly. Yeah. But my mom, she'll like talk about it to us. She'll let it out, or she'll even get mad at us for stupid shit because she's upset. And I'm not blaming her. Like big feelings.
Right.
But,
Right.
Big feelings.
Big feelings.
Yeah. But what he was saying was important, because depending on how they take that out on their children, that's also something they're going to see, and it'll give me a little bit of an opinion, right? Like when I was younger and had a less developed mind and could only see things very one-dimensionally, I took that as, oh, my dad's kind of being a little bit nicer,
Right.
I feel a little more open to talk to him about certain things. Whereas my mom, even though I know that she's super nice and super open when she's not angry or upset about something, I'm a little bit more worried to talk to her about certain things, just because I see how she reacts when things get bad, and she'll take that out on me. In reality, that's not necessarily the case for either of them.
Right.
I could talk to either of them about anything. They're typically pretty chill about those things. It's just, it takes a little bit of depth to see it from both of their perspectives. Like, I understand why she reacts that way. I understand why he reacts that way. But as a child,
right, it takes maturity.
That's a hard thing to notice.
You're not going to look at that at 11 years old and be like, oh,
and especially when you don't
upset.
know. Yeah, and especially when you don't know the details, you're going to look at it very one-dimensionally and think that they're just being a dick or something.
Yeah. It's up to you when you're an adult to like really change that, because it's just going to follow generation after generation, which typically changes when it comes to you and me, we're technically like first generations, and we're just gonna have to change it, because my parents, my dad, he will never talk about his feelings until like I force it out of him,
until it's an explosion,
like I punch him in the gut or something, you know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. No, literally, they just seclude their like emotions, and there's just other ways that they show that they feel bad, or like that they're angry,
displacement or projecting.
Yeah, exactly. So I have like, and thank God my mom's not like that, so I force it out of my dad to like talk to me if there's something wrong.
How a lot of them are raised,
Yeah, but back to that whole uncertainty thing, I completely agree with you guys. The last thing that I want to feel from another person is uncertainty or confusion or making me feel stupid or dumb. Like, I can't handle that. Like, you need to, like, I'm not like a baby. Like, talk to me.
Agree.
Like, I can't handle that.
I don't like being like brushed under the rug, like, oh, you're not that smart, or you can't understand. Like, try me.
And any, like, my parents do that all the time, but like, in any relationship that I'm in,
even
like,
friends.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're gonna be mad at me for a month, express that. You know what I mean? Because if you don't express it, it's gonna lead to a year, and it's gonna lead to our downfall of our friendship.
Right.
So just express that to me. But in a relationship, the last thing that you're gonna do is be like, I don't want to talk about it. I just need like to get out of my head. No, because it's gonna be in your head later, and you're not. You're just supposed to be down.
I do find that even in my current relationship, like there is some things sometimes where you're like, I literally can't have this conversation with you right now. Like, I'm too fired up, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. Like, sometimes you do have to revisit it, but like
that's different though, because you're still
being open.
Yes,
with that.
yes.
Yeah. But the thing is, you have to actually revisit it. You can't just be like, I don't want to talk about this right now, and then never talk about it.
Yeah, or you're gonna bring it up when you're mad again. You
exactly.
know what I mean? And that's just it's gonna be a worse downfall because my partners they do that shit all the time.
Partners.
Yeah, my exes, they were terrible communicators. I always had to force something out of them. I just don't.
Dude, even my girlfriend right now, I love her to death, but she also does that all the time, and I tell her every time it's not that big of a deal because we talk about it, but she does that all the time where she'll like bring up something that happened fucking weeks ago out of nowhere when she's upset, and I'm like, why? Just tell me about it then.
Yeah.
Like, I'm no saint. I like, of course everybody will do it at some point, but like, that sucks though. That's like the worst.
As a female, I feel that in my relationships, like when things like that happen, especially because of the first relationship I was in, like when these situations like come up and I feel a certain way, it's like in my head I have like a whole battle being like, should I say something? Like, is it me or is it the situation? And is it like something actually like maybe not okay? And it's so hard for me to distinguish when like I'm just being overreactive or something's actually wrong. So I just end up withholding it, which is not.
I will say, I think
obviously.
that is something that everybody struggles with, and I never blame people for that because, like, especially when you're like in a relationship, having like the notion that like you're gonna feel a certain way about yourself, especially when like you're arguing with somebody and you're gonna like think to yourself, oh, is this all my fault? Am I being a dick? Like with every relationship comes some level of insecurity, whether you like it or not. And the reason that's such a big issue for some people is because there are some people who have never been insecure until they're in a relationship, and that's the only thing they're insecure about, right? But it's like I never blame people for like that kind of thing or like feeling some way about themselves because of course that leads to issues sometimes, but it's like being somebody in a relationship, and this is something that you would understand, or anybody who's been in a relationship for a while would understand, like those self-destructive thoughts will be there like all the time, right? And it's something that you have to learn how to manage between like the other person, right? But that's the thing, like, you know, relationships, like they take a lot of effort and time. Like time is important. People give up on them really, really fast, but you have to let yourselves grow as people in order to make it work.
People think it's a cliche when it's like, oh, relationships are it no, like it actually is, because it's not like you could just live with one person for the rest of your life. Like, it's not just that easy. There's so many things that go into that. Like,
this is why I don't believe in soulmates. Like, there are no two people on earth who are raised the same.
Wait a second.
If we're gonna talk about energy and shit like that, I got a whole fuckload of words for you.
We're gonna have very different opinions.
Listen, soulmates aren't what everybody thinks they are. Soulmate isn't like your end all be all whatever. Like, soulmates are part of your soul family, which is like, okay, so let's start from the beginning. So my mom,
I think I already know what you're gonna say.
No, you don't. Maybe you do if I told you this before. My mom works in healthcare, and she says that every single dead body, every single person that dies in that hospital, right, they lose the same amount of weight. I don't remember how much it is, to be honest. Maybe it's like 7 pounds or something, or like 7 grams. I don't really know exactly. But everybody loses the same amount. So it's her theory, and I agree, that is like your soul, because energy can't be created or destroyed, only transferred, right? So your soul doesn't actually like you don't actually die. Your soul and all the contents of your personality and everything that you've ever done, said, will do, whatever, it's all encompassed in your soul. But so where were we going with this?
We're talking about soul, and they're not the
soulmates. Thank you. So everybody's soul has their own like soul family, and in your soul family is people that in every lifetime, no matter where you go, where you're born, what planet you're on, you will always find those like specific people. Nowadays, people take the word soulmate and twin flame and all of that, and they just, you know, I don't even know. They just use it all the time. Yeah, but overuse it.
Yeah, I suppose they also think that like when you meet your soulmate, like it's like not okay to grow apart. because I feel like
soulmates,
family, in your soul family. I mean,
right?
You know
Soulmates
what I mean?
are there to learn.
Yes.
They're there like to be there for a certain amount of time.
Exactly. Yes.
So like it's not soulmates aren't forever. So when people are like, you're my soulmate, so you're saying that I'm gonna be gone in a year or 2 years.
I'm such a bad candidate for this conversation. I don't believe in souls or anything like that.
Do you know what a twin flame is?
No.
How do you measure consciousness? If you don't believe in souls, how do you measure consciousness?
I think that being conscious is the result of a bunch of chemical and electronic reactions in the brain. And
right.
I think that is just the outcome of it, and it's not necessarily something that as conscious beings we can really grasp. But I think at the end of the day, it's that simple. Just your body works, so that's why you have thoughts. Yeah. I mean, I agree that there's most definitely the medical side of it. I just think that it's something like, okay, I don't necessarily think that anybody who believes in that stuff is wrong, because anything could be true, and I'm not the one who would know, right? True. But we're all conscious at the same time. He's humble, y'all. He's humble. But the reason that I don't even think about it is because as conscious beings, that idea and finding that out, I don't think we'll ever have an answer, and I don't think it's something that we can even begin to grasp. I think people come up with theories and everything, and that's all fine. I have no issue. They could all be perfectly good explanations. I don't spend my time thinking about it or believing in any theory, just because for things that I can't grasp or comprehend, or that I'm not really meant to, I just default to the simplest answer, right? Right. For consciousness, right? For consciousness, right? The easiest thing for me to believe, where I'm not completely making up a theory, is that it's just the result of chemical and electrical reactions that we know to exist. I have questions for you. Yeah. Have you? Because I also have this theory where I'm into astrology, and I'm into spirituality and all of these kinds of things, tarot cards. I have prophetic, is that the word? Prophetic dreams. Yeah. Okay. So then that's been me always, and that's been my mom always. Yep. So my question is, have you ever had any kind of tie to a spirit or energy? Have you ever felt the energy from another person, from not oh, I know they're mad, actually genuinely empathetically feel their energy? So this is a complicated question. I don't think so. I'm not empathetic. I don't feel energy in that deep of a sense. I do feel connected to people for the reason that I know that we we're all related, in the sense that I know we all came from the same place, right? Literally all of creation, as I can see it, was made from space gas, stardust, shit like that. Bang. All of us are stardust, right? We all have stardust as one step in our process. Right. So we're all coming from the same place, realistically, and all of life is coming from the same place. So I'm one of those people where I love nature, right? Because I can step outside and be this is where I belong, right? I am not that different from the grass that I'm walking on, from the trees that I'm looking at. Right. There's a marginal difference between me and everything else that is living. So in that sense, yeah, I feel connected. And people always bring up the whole death thing. Where do you think you go after death? Where do you think your consciousness goes, your energy goes? What do you think happens to you? I'm content with the idea that there's nothing, and I'm content with the idea that other organisms are going to benefit from my decaying body, right? And then I am in turn still part of other things. Right. It's just this chapter of my journey has ended. The chapter where I'm conscious and can perceive other people and feel related to these things, that's just going to be over. But I'm content knowing that other things will benefit from, and that my your death. My cycle will continue, right? Right. My body will break down. You're not gone just because you're not here. Yeah, my body will break down and be part of other things that have always been part of me, So the theory is that if you've never felt that way, if you've never talked to a ghost or contacted a spirit, or you just don't, you've never even seen anything like that, or you just don't resonate with it, it's because you're not supposed to. Yeah. There's only certain people that are at that level of consciousness. So in I forget if it's Buddhism or just in another kind of religion,
or might just be like the belief of spirituality, but there's so many different levels of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And the higher and the higher and the higher you go, the more like you are able to tap into, the more you can manipulate the energy around you, really feel what people are feeling, like all of that kind of stuff. So maybe you're just not meant to.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that it's not there.
I love this conversation because so the way that I think about it, and I am absolutely not discrediting anybody who feels that they have interacted with any sort of spiritual thing.
It's a disclaimer.
I the way that I view it, right, I think that the human mind is a very powerful thing, and for a lot of people, if you think about something for long enough, you can manifest it into your reality, right? And that's not necessarily spiritually related.
Right.
It's just like, for instance, if somebody takes a drug, right? Like, let's say somebody does acid, right? And they think about something in particular, they may find things in their world that they're seeing that may reflect those things that they're thinking if they think about it hard enough, right? Like those things might just appear. And that goes to the saying where if you're experiencing it, then that by default makes it real because you're having that experience, right?
But is it all in your head?
Yeah, but is it so? The way that I think about it, right? Like people who believe in spiritual things, right? Like you said your mother's super into it too. She's been that way your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, for you, and whether or not you also believe this is not up to me. But for you, I would think of it as the case where like you were raised around that kind of idea, right? Like if you are shown something from an early age, from birth, then that thing is going to be very well accustomed to you as you grow through life.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you're going to be very comfortable with that thing. So if you were shown those kinds of spiritual things when you were younger and you were trained to believe in those kinds of things like spirits or ghosts or things like that, then you're more likely to genuinely believe them, right? Like you're more likely to feel that you've had encounters with those things. And my point was that the human mind is so powerful that I think that it can make you believe things that may not be there, right? And for me, that's my explanation. And I'm like other people feel that they've interacted with these things, and that's completely fine. Like I'm not. They could be right. I could be the lunatic, right? But that's the way that I think about it. That the human mind is so powerful, and the reactions that you can force your body to have just by thinking about something, right? Just by bringing it up in your head.
I think that's very real. Obviously, like what we were talking about before, like you're a product of your environment. With that being said, I actually came to my mom was always like that, but it was never in front of my face. So my mom, she's not like she's not like what you think, right? She didn't like. She had tarot cards, but they were in her bedside table that I didn't see until I was 13. And like. She never had crystals. Like it wasn't like so out there that like, oh, I'm a spiritual being. Like that's not how exactly I meant it. I actually came to my mom when I was probably like 14, maybe 13 or 14, and I was like, hey mom, I've been having these dreams, right? And they just like turn out to be real. Or like they just like turn out to have something to do with what I'm doing that day.
Oh, same.
Or like
same. Yeah.
Or like I'll see something in my dream and then I see it that day and I'm like, wait a second, but I've never seen that before. There's no way that there's no way, right?
Yeah.
So it was more like that. Like it's hard to discredit it, and I am not saying that like your opinion is the wrong side of it. Yeah. But it's not even like I'm trying to convince you that there's ghosts and that there's this and that and the other thing. Like it's literally just
you experience
what
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is why I always say that I don't discredit these things because it's impossible. It's literally impossible to determine whether or not these things are real, right? Like they can be real to somebody and not real to somebody else. The way that I also compare something like this to religion in a way, and I kind of categorize all of these things under a similar umbrella because the way that I think about it, like people. So I always resort to whatever the logical explanation typically is, right? And for something like that where you're experiencing things in your dreams that later come to be true, I've always believed that dreams are just recollections of your past experiences that are living out through maybe different circumstances that your brain is like entertaining.
Right.
So
you think we have like the same course of life?
I mean,
Every
I
life.
think repetition happens a lot in life, like more than people realize.
Right.
So like when
There
something
are 8
happens,
billion of us.
yeah. So
Right.
so like when something happens in your dreams, like they're likely things that have at least in part already happened to you, right? Like because people have these same experiences over and over and over again
Yeah.
all throughout life.
In a different place,
Yeah, in a
with
different place, different time,
people.
different people. Yeah.
Right.
So I've always believed that dreams are just different incarnations of those things that you've already experienced. It's just like pretty much filing through its memory database, kind of.
Yeah, but sometimes like when it's like like with the dream thing, like
Right.
I've experienced where I've dreamt of it, and then like the day of or the next day, it's legit happened.
Like
Yeah.
that same exact
Yeah,
thing.
and it's just interesting because it's not just like a situation and like the people are different and the setting is different. It's like the details of like
Right.
the color scheme of it,
Right.
the
How you
placement,
feel.
the placement of how people are looking. I'm like, whoa,
Right.
like, and it happens multiple times in my life, and it's
Yeah. Like
come
I don't have deja vu. I have moments like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, no, I saw this in my dream last night.
No,
like
no, no.
I knew this was gonna
For
happen.
example, for example, like
Like
yesterday.
I can finish your sentence.
For example, when I was at your
Right.
house yesterday, like when we were talking, when I was like talking to you while I was leaving for
Mm-hmm.
work, I remembered you being right there, JJ being right there, the pool being right there. You had your pink bathing suit.
Purple. But
Purple,
yeah. Should've
yes.
known that.
I'm sorry, my bad. And I just remembered everything being so specific and the color scheme
Right.
of everything. I remember the trees being there. I remember being blue because of the water. It was just so specific where
Because how I always remember it, or how I always like know that that's actually what happened. That's actually what's happening. Like, oh, I saw that in a dream. Is like, I'm so confused when I wake up from a dream like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what did who was that? Where was I? Why was I there? And then you walk out of your room and it's like, oh my God, I was here and they were there and that's why they're
Yeah.
here and
Yeah.
that's why everything's happening.
I 1000% understand why this would lead people to believe in something greater, right? Like, I 100% understand.
I don't believe in God, baby.
No, not God, not God, but some
I
kind
think
of
all
like,
three of us are very different. When it
yeah,
comes to-
not God, but some kind of like spiritual
Uh-huh.
aspect. I completely understand why people believe something out of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of person where if I cannot prove that thing is there,
Right.
or that it's real, I will just resort to like just being basic, right? Like I would experience that same thing, and in my head I would just be like, okay, that's weird.
So you're like, no
Like-
picture,
like cool-
it didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. I would just be like, cool coincidence. You know, like,
for me, I think it's just like I do believe in God, and
Yeah.
I know like you two don't, but like
Yeah.
you two are on different like
Right,
spectrums
different
of
ends
this.
of it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it just brings me like a comfort and content to know that there is like an above power.
that's it.
It
That's
doesn't for me.
That's it.
And I
That's
also-
what I'm saying. People.
Yeah.
That's why religion started, right? And this is why I branch these things under the same umbrella, because I find I feel like for a lot of people, definitely not everybody, but I feel for a lot of people, believing in these things brings them comfort in some way.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's some greater purpose other than their life here brings them, you know, it makes them okay with death or whatever. And that's why religion existed in the first place, right? Like people couldn't explain shit in the world. They wanted something to attribute it to. They didn't know what death was like. They saw people die and were like,
That's
what
what I
the
thought science was for.
yeah, they saw people die and they were, well,
Same.
this is before, like, obviously these things were made before science
yes.
was realized. And, you know, like, they would see people die and be like, what the fuck just
What are you
happened?
doing, bro?
Like wake
Like,
up.
get up.
Yeah,
Literally, get
like,
up.
Stop.
yeah. So
Stop
people
playing.
wonder why these things happened, and they made religion as sort of their comfort or an explanation, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why, though, like, I just can't bring myself to believe in
Yeah.
it, probably because I'm just not the kind of person who needs that comfort. I'm more comfortable believing that
You're just a
believing in
person.
what I can see, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable not believing in things that I absolutely cannot prove, you know? Like, saying that there's nothing, I obviously can't prove that, but I would rather believe there's nothing and be content with my body being decayed
Right.
by other organisms than believing
Right.
that there's God, and then at the end of the day, being disappointed when there's no heaven, right?
Right.
Like, after I die,
Right.
you know? I would just rather be the basic bitch, you know?
I'd rather just decay there, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to see Jesus in nothing.
I
Like-
just see things how it is to me. Like
Yeah,
I just
from your
I
perspective.
just believe what I perceive
Right.
and whatever I perceive,
Right.
and that's it.
I don't
But-
think there is, like, because of all that I said, I don't believe that there is something that gives me that power. I think it's just kind of like an innate ability, and it brings me discomfort actually to feel like I've been picked for something that
You have no clue what.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what
bag.
for.
Yeah, but then
I'm like, why do I know that tomorrow I'm going to be having this conversation with these people at this time and they're all going to be saying this? Like, what's the purpose of that? What's good for that?
Back to the comfortability, that's one of the things that brings me comfort to, like, know, like, I trust everything happens for a reason. If things are going to be,
sure.
I trust that I'm going to be okay. And even if that okay is death, that I'm okay. Like, you know, it just brings me to that point of comfortability.
Yeah,
I mean,
I believe the same exact thing, just without the God part.
I think all three of us, like not even close, but, like, you know, like, we agree to a certain level that it is okay. Yeah. Because it does, I don't know, it, like you said, it brings you comfort.
Death is not scary to me.
I don't think anything happens for a reason. I'm ready to
go. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think anything. Fucking ice cream truck falls through my house.
I'm dead.
But only on me though.
I don't believe that things happen for a reason, but I'm comfortable with the chaos. Like I bask in the chaos. I'm okay knowing that I'm not part of a bigger destiny, but I'm just part of everything that's here. Like I'm nothing greater, and I don't want to be anything greater. You know, like I don't want to be. Like, I mean, I don't want to be God's creation. Like, I just want to be me.
I mean, like, it's all three of us.
Like, shit, I'm Jacob, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying.
But, like, all of our ideologies, like, it to all of us, it brings comfort. To you, like, you know, at the end point, it's just nothing at the whatever. Right. To me, I know or like to feel comfortable to go up to heaven and feel comfortable, like, chilling with my peeps. If I make it.
Also, one of my biggest factors contributing to me not believing in God is that the lack of believing that there is something after motivates me to do things now, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people who are religious dedicate their whole lives to worshiping God and a lot of their time to worshiping God, which is fine.
Like, if that's what
they want to do.
But also it motivates them to get up for the day. You know
if that's what they want to do, and you know that's how they want to live their life, like obviously that's not a problem. But for me, I don't want to spend so much time believing in something I can't prove. The idea of there being nothing after death and there being no heaven or anywhere for me to go. I want to do shit now. I'm here. There's a lot of cool shit to do. I can fucking, like, I can do anything I want.
Did you think there was shit to do after you died anyway? Like, you think there's a mall up there in heaven?
Like, you're never even gonna
know. Like house that's made out of clouds and we're all just chilling.
I think whatever you think is going to happen to you is what happens to you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you believe in reincarnation, then that's what's going to happen.
For a while I did because
you know what, guys?
I
volunteer.
But I also think there's just different.
I will sacrifice myself in the name of finding it out.
I will jump in front of my car today.
Yes.
We'll do a controlled fucking homicide.
Controlled homicide experiment just to find out what's there.
Well, you know, though, some people do like die because like cardiac arrest, whatever, and then wake up and they're like, oh my God, I saw God. I know he's real. Like, you need to believe me, man.
I think everyone's experience is different.
Yeah, for the record, I find this shit fascinating though. Like, shit that I don't believe in, I find it fascinating because if it is real, because I'm not determining whether or not it's real. I'm just deciding what I want to believe in. But if it is real, that shit fascinates me. Like, people can talk to ghosts and shit. If ghosts are real and that ability is real, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Wait, let's talk about that.
That's so cool.
How can you, like, you cannot believe or believe, right? Have your own opinion. Yeah. But, like, how do you discredit, like, the Long Island medium? Yeah. Like, how do you say, like, nah, babe, like, she just, like, researced that. Yeah. Like, she just knew that your brother died in 2016 in a car crash with, like, his dog in the back. Right. And, like, she knew, like, in the article that there was your inside joke that you've had since you were 5 years old. Like, how do you discredit that is true? That they're actually talking to that person?
Yeah, so you're right. There are instances where it is that specific, and I couldn't discredit them. I mean, I wouldn't know how they do it. Right. But from what I've seen, like, I've gone with family members to visit mediums and stuff, or
some of them are bogus.
Yeah,
some of them just want money.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Most times
because they know.
Because they know that people will believe them.
Most times I do think things that are said by them are extraordinarily generic. Like, and that's the thing about tarot cards too, which is why I don't necessarily believe in tarot cards. Is because with tarot cards, 99% of all cards relate to all people, right? Like,
oh, of course.
Like, and I feel like when people go for like medium readings and stuff, what I've experienced is that the medium will just say some generic shit like, there was somebody in your past who you're really thinking about, you really miss them, like just shit like that, right? And
no, but sometimes it do be wild and like
yeah,
you
but
remember
that's the thing,
like
people,
for example the inside joke that's crazy.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah. And it does certainly happen. It may be like, I can't really explain it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't discredit it. I also can't explain it. I just don't believe in it. I have ideas as to how they may be able to do that. Like they may be able to lead you through a series of questioning where you don't realize you're giving enough information, but subconsciously, maybe they're just really good at reading people's emotions or reading intent behind words, right? Like they may lead you through a series of questions where you're not necessarily giving details, but you're giving enough emotion or enough facial movement where they can acknowledge these signs and come to a at least generic enough conclusion that sounds specific, so
I think that's way harder for me to believe than just like, nah, that bitch is talking to a ghost right now.
Yeah.
Like,
well, sometimes
it's
the
mad
medium,
easy for me to
sometimes
believe
mediums
that.
don't do it in person. They have sometimes where it's like over the
Right.
phone because
They don't even see you.
For example, celebrities, like you can look up anything and you can
Oh,
figure
duh.
it out. So sometimes they do a phone call and say a different name, and then I've seen like on YouTube like they get like pretty accurate shit.
No, they do, because it's not always that. A lot of people scam the industry, and they do that, and they probably do just give you the most general fucking things that they could possibly give you, like, oh, this line means you're gonna die when you're 32 on your hand. Like, no, that's bogus. But I've actually gone to like a psychic circle. So it was somewhere in Brooklyn, like a year ago or so like that. And it was like 10 other people that I didn't know and one medium. And she literally just went around the circle and just like was talking to somebody for you. Whether it was like, whether you wanted future, advice, or you wanted to talk to someone from your past or whatever it was, like she was talking to people. She was getting real information. We don't know how or when or from who, but it just like, it's so crazy when you actually see it taking place, because it's like, I didn't even answer. You don't even know my name.
Yeah.
And you're telling me all of these things about people that want to contact me, or like, it's just easier for me as a person to believe, because I've seen it a lot.
Yeah, it definitely happens. And these are things that I couldn't possibly explain, I think that happens with every belief though. Like somebody could ask me, where do you think anything came from, right? Like they can ask me that big question, like, oh, yeah, sure, Big Bang, but where did the shit to make the Big Bang come from, and where did all that come from? Like,
I can
like
tell
you can
right
go,
now.
you can go, like you can go infinitely deeper, right?
Right.
And me not believing in a god or anything, like, obviously that's not a question I can answer. Like, I can either choose to believe in God and be like, he spawned it, or
He spawned it.
or I can just not have an answer.
Right.
But every belief has those pressing questions where you're not going to be able to come up with an answer because it pins your belief against the wall, right?
Right.
So those kinds of things, like, I want to be proven that that's real. Like, I don't believe in it just because, like, to me, having somebody tell me that doesn't necessarily prove it to me. Like, I would want to literally see a ghost.
Right.
Like, that's just the kind of person I am. But if that
You're
was
lucky
proven
that
to
you've
me...
never seen a ghost, because I see shadow people.
I
That
have
shit
had
is
sleep
so
paralysis.
scary.
I've
Not the
had-
sleep paralysis.
I've had sleep paralysis several times. I used to get it multiple times a month, and
Yeah,
I
we
would
actually
see.
talked about it on
I
an
would see
episode, yeah.
fucking shadow people, and
Yeah.
that's
Nah, bro.
That's not cool.
I think
That is not
Nah.
cool.
I think we
That's
talked
why I
about it
sleep
so.
with my face covered.
Yeah.
I
I
can't.
think we
is
talked
not
about
cool.
it so much where it was in the title. I think it was anxiety,
Yeah,
depression,
I
and sleep
know.
paralysis.
Yeah.
I know. I saw that. I
Dude,
saw that one.
that is a crazy phenomenon. That's
I
wicked.
don't. Beats me. Scares the fuck out of me.
I actually
if it
tamed
happened to
it,
me,
though.
I'd kill
Wait,
myself.
I
shadow.
tamed it.
Wait.
I tamed it.
What do you mean?
It
Like on a
happened
leash?
to me. No, yeah.
You're like, come here.
It happened to me so many times that I learned how to control what
Oh
happens in
shit.
it.
Oh yeah, you said
So
that.
what was like the last? Like, did they walk out? Like, instead of just walking in?
They're
and,
never
like,
there.
They're never there. Huh?
Yeah, so like I've had it multiple times.
Wait a
I've
minute.
had it multiple times, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the first few times were obviously scary as fuck. I was seeing random shit. I literally saw a fucking like horror movie stereotypical girl in the corner of my room crying, kneeling on the floor.
Stop!
Like,
Stop!
like
Because that's actually so terrifying.
yeah, like I literally heard her laughing. I've like sunk into my bed. I've experienced all those things. The first few times it happened, it was really scary,
Were you
right?
able to talk?
Yeah, so the first time it actually happened, I tried yelling, but I couldn't. Like, I made the motions to and everything, and I just like my body could not.
Just like
actually,
nothing would come out.
Yeah, nothing at all.
So like how does sleep paralysis actually work? How do you get sleep paralysis?
Yeah, so basically, like when you're falling asleep, right? Like, you know how you have like different stages of sleep.
Right.
So it's you basically waking up in between like where you're falling asleep and when your body actually like paralyzes itself so you don't act out your dreams. So your body's paralyzed already, but your mind is still going, like it hasn't gotten into that state of deep sleep yet. And you wake up in the middle of that and can look around, but you just can't fucking move. It's like actually the worst
No,
thing.
sounds great.
Yeah, it's the worst
really
thing.
fun.
Sounds like the dream.
Yeah, and I learned how
Literally.
to. Yeah,
Sounds like a dream.
I learned how to make myself go into it and how to stop myself from going into it if I didn't do it by choice.
Right.
And the way that I do that, like, you can tell there's like a feeling you get when you're going to go into it. The only way I can describe it is physically like acknowledging that my body is being paralyzed. Like, I feel like a heaviness coming over me, and then I start to not be able to move. And the way that I get myself out of it, I like force my body to thrash. Like I literally I like think about it and I'm like pushing myself until I actually move, and then when I finally get myself to move and I get out of being locked, I will wake up.
So it's like the
but
same
it's a
thing.
mental willpower thing. Like, you have to think about it. You have to like
It's the same thing as you realize you're in a dream, so you're gonna wake up from
you
the dream.
have to wake
as
yourself
soon as
up.
you realize you're in a dream or a nightmare,
but the difference
you're like,
is
oh,
the difference
bye.
is when I'm dreaming, it's not a struggle to wake up. I just think that I want to wake up and then I wake up.
Right.
But with this,
How do you wake up then? Like,
You
how
don't
like,
wake up.
With
no,
this,
with like sleep paralysis, like you're saying your conscious is already
yeah,
awake,
you're
right?
thinking. You're
So,
still like awake.
So when
Right.
it comes to waking up, do you feel like a whoosh, going back?
It's kind of like you're still awake. You're like, I would consider it in between awake and sleep. Like, you still feel like groggy and like you're like kind of sleeping, but you can still think like
Gotcha.
fully.
So do you just like close your eyes one more time while you're conscious in that dream, and then when you open it up again, you're awake? Would that
When
be
I'm
the
in
best?
sleep paralysis, like to wake up out of sleep paralysis, you're saying?
Yeah, so like right before you wake up from sleep paralysis, what I would imagine you would be like, you would feel like you were falling back and then back into your normal physical body.
So the way to get out of it, right? And this has been like studied and everything. The best way to get out of it is to wiggle your appendages like one by one. Like wiggle your fingers,
Like,
wiggle your
my
toes.
wiggle my toes.
Yeah, wiggle your finger. Try to get them to move.
Like,
and then once you feel those moving, try to get to bigger body. Normally, I just go straight for the torso and try to like start thrashing, right?
Like-
and that's how you get out of it in any sense. Like
Gotcha.
even like if you can catch yourself going into it, that's how to get out of it. If you're already into it, that's how you get out of it. You just keep trying to move, like you push yourself,
gotcha.
right? And then when you wake up, it's literally your body finally moving, right? And that's it. Like you fully become conscious and awake at that
Everything's
moment.
gone.
Everything's gone. You push yourself and your body actually moves, and then boom, you're just awake when you actually finally move.
Right.
And it's not so much that the world around you changes at all because you were literally seeing it, but it's just that your like level of awakeness, you can tell you're like you were in between basically being awake and asleep, and now you're fully awake and everything's like normal. You know, it's a strange phenomenon.
Gotcha.
It's the coolest thing.
I don't know how you would have came back from the hand on the like end of your bed. Like, I would have been
It
out
was
of
the
house.
scariest thing I've ever experienced in my whole life.
Like, imagine
sleep
it just,
paralysis.
like,
Yeah.
a face came
You're
up.
like, no,
Sleep
I would have been
paralysis.
like, go back.
It
Go
is-
back.
like what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do,
Bro, it is easily the scariest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, no,
You know,
Damn.
but
you're brave.
it's so cool
I
though.
think I would be
Once you
scared.
think
It's
about
so
it,
cool.
like, cause I
have
didn't know
power in
it
a
was a
dream,
thing.
yeah.
The worst part was going into it not knowing it was a thing. Right?
Oh.
I thought I was dying because I did not know that was a thing. I didn't know sleep paralysis existed. So it just
Always
happened to me, and I was like, what the fuck? I woke up when I finally got myself awake. I shot up, and I was sitting up, and I was hyperventilating. Like, I was actually like crying and hyperventilating and sweating. And I was like,
Word.
dude, that is the scariest thing. I did not fall asleep for like the next 2 days because I was that scared.
Yeah, I would fucking be too. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'd be like, I know it. As soon as I close my eyes, that bitch gonna be in the corner.
I started taking
What the fuck?
I started taking like loads of melatonin to try and avoid it and
Oh,
get myself
no.
to fall asleep quicker.
Oh damn.
And
Did
that's
that
what
work?
I went to the doctor and they told me to do that. and they were like,
shit.
try
I
that.
don't pay no mind.
Yeah, they were
Fall
like
asleep
they were like
quicker.
there's literally no treatment for this. Like it just happens to people. Like you maybe take melatonin.
Well,
be
and
happier or something. I
Yeah,
don't
just
know.
try and get to sleep quicker.
Stop being depressed.
Yeah, like, have a good life, and then maybe what happens.
And then it just
I love when
happened.
people say
It
that.
happened over and over again, and now I like when it happens.
Gotcha.
Now I enjoy
Okay,
it.
you're like, I'm in control.
Yeah, now I enjoy it.
All right. The episode's getting pretty long, so I'm gonna ask one final
Yeah.
question for you, and then
Yeah.
we'll end it.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? So 10 years from now, when you watch this, where do you see yourself?
Yeah.
Hey, me. In 10 years.
Well, that's that camera. You get it.
That one?
Yeah, the blue one.
Hey. In 10 years, y'all not even gonna
Recognize you?
pause.
Restart.
In 10
Jacob,
years,
recording
y'all
this
ain't
out.
even gonna recognize me. I'm gonna have my English down, first of all.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm gonna be, hopefully have my master's in business or in forensics or in something else that I'll figure out I want to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully in 10 years,
There we go.
I will have multiple properties. I
Good
want
for
a
you.
strip club, bar,
Can I be the bouncer?
a club.
Why is that the first?
Can I be
been
the strip
thinking-
club bouncer, please?
Yes.
Can I get like free admission?
No. You're
What?
bouncing. What do you mean?
Well,
well,
Are you
bouncing.
inside or
No,
outside,
like when the door.
bitch?
No,
Like-
we'll like close the doors at some
Well,
point.
technically,
Just
you could
lock
be inside
everybody
to
in.
protect the
Yeah,
strippers.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like,
And then I'll like tackle some guy
yeah,
and like tase
okay.
him. And,
You
like,
can come in like when
Periodically.
everyone's done coming
yeah,
in.
Yeah. Okay.
When it's like 12 o'clock at night and like we're like, all right, we're not taking nobody else. Like the club's full because it's so busy.
yeah.
Oh, because you know it's gonna be
Because
successful.
it's gonna be so busy.
When you're
First
like-
of all,
when
I've
you're,
been
like,
thinking of the name
planning-
for this place.
Do you have one?
For,
Do you have one?
Yeah, I'm not telling you.
What?
Sorry.
You're not gonna tell
I
people.
can't because you're gonna take it.
Well, okay.
We were
listen.
talking about a business.
Yeah,
but
but I'm
strip
telling you
club
right
before.
now, I'm not making a strip club ever.
Wow.
So you're
Okay,
saying,
but what if
why not?
somebody,
somebody
else
else?
wants
Yeah.
to?
Okay. All right.
No,
fine,
I'll
fine,
tell
fine.
you after.
Wait. Okay.
But-
But when you're like planning it and like making your schematics and shit, can you like share it with us? Can you like?
Oh
Show
yeah.
us-
So my
yeah.
plan
Wait, can I
is
be
to
an
like.
investor?
Yeah. Can we like show?
My plan is to know the business side of things
Yeah.
and then have everyone else do their part. So like, for example, my boyfriend right now, he's a mechanic. So like I said, I want to own all these
Can I be the
properties.
DJ? Sorry.
Maybe.
DJ.
There's going to be a
It's
process
gonna be
for that.
10 years, all right?
10 years. But anyway, my boyfriend now is a mechanic. And so he knows that whole side of things. So
Yeah.
he knows how to do, how to actually work on the cars, how to order the parts, where to get them, all that stuff. And I'll
Work.
know the business side. How to, manage the money, how to do the payroll, things like that. So that's kind of my plan, is to be in a lot of different partnerships, but also ultimately like things I will just own. A laundromat, like easy revenue. Money makes its own money, right?
Podcast
Yeah.
manager.
Right.
Podcast.
Podcast manager.
I mean, maybe.
I want to have my own podcast. Okay, wait. Let's go down the list, right? There's so many things I want to do in my life. Like, I
Good.
feel like every 5 years I should just like completely switch my
I like.
profession.
I like the
same,
ambition.
dude.
I
but
like the ambition.
also just always have my business things. So always have things that will make me money and support everything else I want to do. But also
Dude,
like
if you're
switch
making
it up.
bank, you
No,
can do whatever the
same,
fuck you
but-
want,
Right?
bro.
But with
Strip
this,
club, like regular club.
Yeah.
Laundromat, apartment building, oh god, what else? Restaurant. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I want
yeah.
a bar.
Oh, yeah.
I like a bar restaurant.
I
would
wanna own
love
a
to.
bar and a
Let's go into
restaurant.
business. What? Whoa! You know I'm one of the
I
best
discovered-
coworkers you
I'm
have.
stepping on
I
this.
discovered
I'm
that
one
I
of the
can
best
make a
coworkers.
mean lobster roll. If you need.
But like,
She needs someone
can you
to make
make a
a
mean
lobster.
Cosmo?
I mean, guys,
Like-
well, that's the truth.
Probably
That's
not.
the
Probably
truth.
not.
Are you a good cook? Because I'm not. So like, I won't be cooking anything at these restaurants. I won't be making
well,
the
you're the
menu.
business person.
Yeah, I'm the business.
My
I'm the brains,
knowledge
babe.
of what I can cook is very limited, but I
Like
am good at
pasta.
what I can cook.
I always wanted to own
Right.
my own media company.
That too.
That would be my dream.
I would
So-
like to own my own record label.
I want to own my own company that oversees all of, like how like Johnson & Johnson, a family company,
Yeah.
they own so many different brands.
Oh, yeah.
And you wouldn't even know that they own so much. That's what I want to be Johnson & Johnson.
You want to
Yeah.
be like Frito-Lay
Yes, I want to be Frito-Lay.
or like Pepsi.
No. Coke.
Coke. Yes. Sorry.
Does Coke own Pepsi or does Pepsi own Coke?
I
they?
think
I think they're separate
I don't even know.
because
think
that's
so.
why they don't.
yeah, they
Yeah.
make like
Pretty sure
Oh
that-
yes,
they make
yes, 'cause we
commercials
have
like
Coke
bashing each
products,
other.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we
Where
have
we
Coke
work.
products.
Did you
yes.
hear that like they found like Coke in the White House? like
Yes.
the drug.
I mean, I'm
they
not
like
surprised.
tested.
Damn, I would do too.
They tested
Why
a
are you
substance
surprised?
that was like
It's,
on a
it's hard
surface.
one in this country. Damn, I'd be doing. I'd be doing all the time if
Well,
I
there's
was
you gotta
working in
think
the
of
White
how
House
many
too.
fucking peeps Snoop Dogg was in there, bro.
That's
You
what
heard
I'm
the story
saying.
of how he lit up a joint
Yeah.
in the fucking bathroom?
Yeah.
First of all, baller.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Right? That's what we need to run this country, first of all.
Snoop Dogg for president.
Fuck Biden, we need Snoop
In
Dogg.
fact,
Snoop Dogg for president.
But I'm not surprised that there's probably way worse fucking drugs than coke in the White
yeah,
House.
like be for real. They have
Like,
so
be
much
for
money and
real.
power.
I'm
Come
sure.
on,
Like-
come on,
And
connections
also
too.
just everybody that's in there. It's a big fucking place.
Yeah.
Like there's not just fucking like security personnel and the president. Like no, there's a million other people in there
Yeah.
that are doing things that
Yeah. Could have just
We
been
don't know
someone
about.
doing what they're not supposed to do. Yeah.
exactly. Well,
Okay.
it definitely was.
So wait, so in the future, in 10 years, what about like personal
Yeah.
goals
Personal goals.
besides like?
Oh,
your-
like kids? You mean?
I mean, I don't want fucking kids.
Um,
It's my future kids. I do want you.
you're loved. You're
Okay,
loved.
in case you guys
right now,
are
this
there.
thing about me.
Right now it's not me. But when you're here, it'll be about you. I promise.
Yeah, but you were definitely worth it.
In 10
promise.
years,
Oh my god.
I hope that I'm like self-sufficient. That's mainly what it is. Self-sufficient, happy, and like there is like I don't want to put like I want to have 3 kids by the time I'm 40. Like I'm not like that. I'm more of I just want to be successful and I just
same.
want to be happy. But if I'm not married past like 30, what are you doing?
You and me talked about this. You and me both
Yes.
discussed like our like because we want to do so much and like we just know we're gonna succeed. Like we just know with like all of our power.
Since I
that
was
we're-
younger, I've always known that I was gonna
there
be
was never
successful.
exactly there was never a doubt in my mind where I was not gonna
Right.
succeed.
Because we have drive. We have
ambition.
exactly ambition. I only want to reach higher. There's never a
Yeah.
time where I want to go lower than what I'm doing.
and we've reached low of lows.
right.
So,
and I'm
like-
also very like this is not the greatest part of it, but like I'm self-deprecating in the way that if I don't achieve what I need or what I want to achieve or I don't get up to that 100% gold star level, yeah, I'm not satisfied. So I
Exactly.
won't stop until
Same.
I
I'm
love to hear it.
satisfied
I
like
love
that.
to hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why I'm here on this podcast now after a year and a half of perseverance. If you want to do it, you can, babes.
Yeah, I mean, you were one of the people that helped us bring it back because he met you and other peeps were like, "Yo, bring it back."
I was going to say, you knew that I was supposed to be on the podcast when we had a conversation. And then you were like, okay, I see what Mario was talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, hopefully, some people watching will get to share this experience too.
Ask for me back.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
will.
if you guys liked her as a guest, ask for her back. And
Yeah. Is there like a comment section?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Have
Oh,
your
it's on
family.
YouTube, right?
Yeah. Have your
Yeah.
family.
You're
just
gonna
be
have
like,
clips
"Yo,
on-
I love her so
Request
much." Yeah, request me for your shows.
Actually, in fact, make this podcast blow the fuck up. Oh, I also want to be like famous.
guys, let's get her famous. This is a
Get
clip
me
right
famous.
here. Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to do anything else other than get
Just-
this clips of this TikTok famous.
Yeah,
and then
get her famous.
It's only up from there. I mean, fuck.
Yeah. Get her famous, and then
Get me
whoever does
noticed.
it, yeah. Yeah.
Give me the attention.
Yeah.
No, but if I was actually like under all that spotlight, I don't know. But like, let's try it.
I still want to try it.
All right. Thank you guys.
guys.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you, Angel, for being here.
Yes,
You're
thank you
welcome.
so much. You were a fantastic guest. We will see you next time.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.